Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin.
Call me Petra.
The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Parker!
Huh?
I need more pictures of Spider-Man! Woman!
Spider-Man is on estrogen now.
Abandoned his sad little masquerade.
In our hearts she is, and in our drawings she is. You see, just under 2 weeks ago, fan art of Petra Parker, the former Spider-Man and current trans woman and presumably Spider-Woman, it depends on what you look at, started appearing on Twitter. It quickly caught on because, of course it did. I mean, look at some of this stuff. It's amazing. One of the interesting things about this trend, however, is how well the idea of a transgender Petra, or indeed Peter Parker, if we're talking about the transmasculine Spider-Man, fits into the Spider-Man mythos, and the characterization of Parker we've had since the 1960s. In fact, some of the themes of the larger Spider-Man narrative don't just still work with a transgender Spider-Person, they work better. There are sparks. If you're in doubt, let me explain. I'm not dressed like this for no reason.
I have to go to the bank today.
On the 10th of August, 2026, Twitter user @Otrebot posted a 4-panel comic captioned "Woke New Day." This was a quote-tweeted response to other Twitter user @ZappyZ_ that said, "Imagine J. Jonah Jameson trying really hard to make a headline that doesn't sound transphobic after Spider-Man looks like they've been on estrogen for 6 months.
What the? This is not him! This is someone else wearing the suit! Spider-Man isn't a woman! Get me pictures of Spider... Jonah, it's the current year. You're right, Robbie, I just never considered it. Remember last year, Jonah? Can you afford that again? Parker, can you, ask Spidey for their preferred alias?
Sure, Jameson. If you're unfamiliar with J. Jonah Jameson in the comics, there is, or was when I was still reading along, a pretty consistent characterization of our favourite Hitler mustache-wearing newspaper monger for a while, where he would be incredibly woke on every single social issue except for the existence of Spider-Man. It's a good bit.
Who's the photographer who takes the pictures of Spider-Man? I don't know who he is.
This panel seems to be based off the original Spider-Girl run, where this similar and incredible interaction happens upon Jameson seeing May Parker, or Spider-Girl, Peter Parker and MJ's daughter, for the first time in costume.
That's the spirit, keep going! A real pleasure to see you flee like the coward you are! You were right, Smythe. Your Spider Slayer is simply wonderful. My only complaint concerns the monitor. It doesn't give a true picture of Spider-Man's costume and makes him look sort of, feminine.
What do you expect from someone who dresses like that?
Are you suggesting that Spider-Man is, well, you know?
Anything's possible, Mr. Jameson.
I never even considered it. It's one thing to persecute a masked menace, but a minority? This is just the kind of publicity-grabbing stunt the roof-climbing clown would do to spite me.
Needless to say, the first Petra Parker strip took off, and of course it did. It's amazing, and it works. It works really well, actually. Everyone loves Petra Parker, apart from that transphobe I saw insisting that theirs wasn't a troon, and everyone making discourse about it that I unfortunately got dragged into, because so many people were complaining that certain depictions looked cis and none looked like a real trans woman, and as someone who does not and has never looked like the ideas of what a real trans woman is supposed to look like these people espouse, and who looks in a good light. I don't want to compliment myself. I don't have high self-esteem, but in a good light, looks like some of those drawings that looked cis and not accurate for a trans woman, well, I made a mistake and tried to correct the record that there is no way to look trans, and that it is hurtful to say that certain types of bodies are not real trans bodies, and that others are finally an accurate trans woman. Mea culpa. I should have taken the words said at the end of my ContraPoints video to heart, and once this trend is over, I will try my best to, do not tweet.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
That aside, this was a trend that started on Twitter after all, so there was always going to be some capital D discourse. For well over a week, artist after artist posted their versions of Petra Parker, and I fell in love. I ate them all up. I'm obsessed. It even inspired me to go, give the costume a go myself. And, I don't know if I look like an accurate trans woman, but I feel okay in it. Does it look good? I don't know. I can't tell. Anyway, just look at this art. Some of it is just pure spider stories straight out of the comic books. Some of it is romantic, some of it's sexy, some of it's deeply upsetting in ways that you will only really feel in your gut if you're trans yourself. This happened to me, and I cried, and it broke me, and then I felt the same way again when I saw this picture. Apparently the artist is cis? What magic are you working? Just as a palette cleanser to that, this is Hey Wow's piece, which is also in the thumbnail with permission. I also relate to this one, but for less sad reasons.
This movie is about coming out, where we see the very trans colors, as Gwen talks about trying to be who her dad wants her to be, even though she can't.
But a transgender Spider-Man doesn't just work as an art trend, a transgender Spider-Man works thematically. There is nothing in the Spider-Man world that would prevent Petra Parker being a real thing that happens. Well, there's editorial, and the fact that Disney is shitting itself constantly at the idea of doing anything too woke, lest Donald Trump wake up from his current wave of dementia and force the mouse to sell the company to Larry Ellison. And then what would we have? The Avengers movies, directed by Barry Weiss? Truly an apocalyptic scenario, but to the point, it does work, and it works for a reason. Spider-Man is a story about sometimes Peter Parker, but it's mainly a story about the everyman, whose name is sometimes Peter Parker, down on his luck, bills to pay, working class, struggling to balance work, life, romance, and saving the world. It's a universal story, and a story where your identity is a weapon that can be used against you. One where newspapers write stories every day about how you're a dangerous vigilante, despite you just trying to help people. It's a story about defining who you are, in spite of a world that tries to tell you that it already knows you and doesn't like what it sees. Petra Parker works very well with the themes of the larger Spider-Man narrative. And also Ultimate Peter Parker had eggs vibes. Think about it.
Halftime being coming out as Spider-Man, queer, while Gwen becomes the trans flag, it feels like a message to those who need to hear it in the audience.
Most of you watching will, I assume, be familiar with the Spider-Verse movies. These films follow Miles Morales as he comes into his own as Spider-Man, following the death of, as happened in Miles' comics origin, the original Peter Parker of his universe. During the first movie, Miles sees how spider people from other universes deal with the power and responsibility that comes with wearing the mask, warts and all. The Spider-Verse movies spread the message that anyone could be wearing the mask.
He always said it could have been anyone behind the mask. He was just the kid who happened to get bit.
The mantle of Spider-Man is not limited to one cisgender white man called Peter Parker, as often as it is. It could be a woman. It could be anyone of any race. It could be a pig. What's important is not who you are under the mask. It's about the ideals that you live up to and the resolve you hold to use your power to make the world a better place, even knowing what it might cost the person behind the mask. The idea that anyone could be behind the mask is not an idea that comes from the Spider-Verse movies, however. It comes straight from the original Spider-Man writer Stan Lee himself in an interview with Newsarama about who else but Miles Morales.
It always fits. Eventually.
What I like about the costume is that anyone reading Spider-Man in any part of the world can imagine that they themselves are under the costume, and that's a good thing.
But because this is Stan Lee, an old and, well, now dead, and sometimes problematic man when he was still alive, he did grumble about the idea of making Peter Parker black or gay or anything different to how they created him. But you can sort of understand this in a way. He's old, number one, but also this is his baby. He did, after all, keep making comic strips starring Spider-Man long after he stopped writing the actual comics. And he is clearly very pro the idea that anyone could be under the mask, but for him, it must always actually be Peter Parker, which seems contradictory. The thing is, it doesn't matter what he thinks because Miles Morales exists and he's great, and Stan Lee's comments did not make him go away. There can be two Spider-Man. Miles Morales is a whole ass new character, and Peter could change too, heck! Maybe he could become a woman. Fuck it, it's fiction, and the character's been going for 80 whole years, why not change things up? The future is now, old man!
Clearly you don't understand how this works. Boys can't be Spider-Girl.
Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister. And that kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider.
Stan Lee is right in that one quote, though, for sure. One of the reasons Spider-Man as a story works so well is because he is an everyman. Because it could be anyone under the mask. He could be Miles under there. He could be any number of people. He looks like he's a man, but you don't know what's going on underneath the suit. Maybe Reed Richards created a super binder. I bet he could. The idea that anyone can be under the mask, the occasional queer subtext into the Spider-Man stories, and a lot of headcanon meant that long before this recent trend, imagining a trans-feminine Petra Parker, trans-masculine Spider-Man was an idea that caught fire long ago, and for ages, and it persists, it works. Anyone could be under the mask. Peter Parker could be a trans guy. Why not? It works! It really, really works. Some of the themes, after all, of the text lend themselves very well to a trans story. Demonized by society for no reason when you're just trying to be a good person and go about your life. A double life in which certain parts of your life cannot be shared with people you run into on the streets or people you don't deeply trust because it might not be safe. Secrets that are a core part of your identity, but that if discovered without your permission, could be used to hurt you and potentially the people you love. Some of the stereotypes of trans people work here too. Bookish science nerd and loner who comes into his own and confidence later on in life by changing his physiology, no less. He takes on a new name as his body chemistry changes. Hell, there are Spider-Man coming out scenes. When he tells someone his secret identity, it is a direct parallel, whether intentionally or not, to coming out as trans or coming out as gay.
I was trying so hard to wear this thing the way you would want, and I didn't.
I wish I could just... I can't. It's hard to say.
MJ,
I'm Spider-Man.
What?
That's what you were gonna say, that you're Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is a working class hero. He's usually close to, if not already, economically struggling. He makes DIY shooters. I mean, there is a lot. I could go on. Anyone could be under the mask, and that doesn't just apply to Spider-Man. Peter Parker, too, is an everyman. There are very few moments in the long history of the Spider-Man franchise that require Peter Parker to be white or cis or even straight. Yeah, he likes women, quite clearly, but he could like men too. Why not? They joke about it enough. And eventually in the comics that led to Deadpool coming out as pansexual, so why not Peter too? Peter Parker and Spider-Man come together to tell a story that applies to almost everyone, and that includes women.
Just one Spider-Man or woman, we don't know. For sure.
I didn't relate to a lot of male characters growing up. Very few at all, in fact. That is, until I started reading Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley. One of the greatest comic runs of all time, by the way, probably my personal favourite. Ultimate Spider-Man is a perfect coming-of-age story, following Peter Parker, a nerd and a loser who is bullied all the time. Oh boy, does that seem familiar? One day, he is bitten by a genetically altered spider, which you could assume is a metaphor for puberty, and despite his initial satisfaction, finally having the strength to stand up to his bully, for example, he acts out. He tries to fit in. He joins the basketball team despite not caring about it at all, because that's what you're supposed to do. He tries, in other words, to be one of the boys. And despite being good at it, and being recognised for it, he hates it. It's not him. Do you see the vision? He is rude to his aunt and uncle despite them being the only people in his life except Harry and MJ who treat him with the kindness he needs and deserves. And after another moment of attempting to embody the man he thinks he's supposed to be, wrestling for money, doing it for good reasons, in this case, he learns, regardless, with the death of his Uncle Ben, that with great power comes great responsibility. Ultimate Spider-Man, and Spider-Man in general, balances so many story elements that you would not necessarily expect to find in stories marketed towards young men and boys. This is not a story about a soldier, about masculinity per se. It's a story about balancing your personal life and your responsibilities. It's about how to do the right thing in a world that makes it difficult to do so and often punishes you for trying to do the right thing. It's about identity. It's about discovering who you are. It's a power fantasy about a bullied kid who gets the power to take revenge on his bullies if he wanted, but instead, because he's a good person at his core, chooses to use that power to make the world a better place instead. To save people like him. The bullied. Those who need help. It's about, quite often, class struggle. This is a poor kid who has had to wrestle a guy in a ring for cash in hand because his family is being sued. He fights millionaires and mob bosses and corporations. The world considers him a freak, and he's biologically different to most. Something that makes, for example, the government, through S.H.I.E.L.D., at some point decide it gets to decide if he's allowed to live or die. They own him. Very cool. It's all this and it's more. It's a superhero story, but it's also a soap opera. It's melodrama. It's a romance story almost all the way through. Spider-Man shares a lot of plot beats with telenovela, depending on the run and the novella, of course. This is something it shares with the X-Men, another group I managed to identify with despite my usual barriers to such a thing. Spider-Man and X-Men are both soap operas with sci-fi elements. They bleed melodrama. They are tales with complex relationships, both romantic, lots of romantic, but also otherwise. The back and forth of Peter's relationship with Harry Osborn, for example. And how these aspects of your life intersect and crash into each other in ways that can threaten to tear everything apart. The intersections of identity, romance, friendship, duty, responsibility, discrimination, aspirations, and struggling to find balance and push through to decide what is important enough in your life that it is necessary to prioritize, even if it hurts, even when it hurts, even when it inevitably hurts, even if it ruins your life. And ruins your life sometimes in ways you might not even be able to see coming, and worse, ways you can clearly see coming. None of this would change if Spider-Man wasn't white, or if he were trans, or bisexual. Hell, you could make him gay and make MJ a guy and nothing would fundamentally change. These are universal stories and universal characters. In fact, the story is so universal, and the themes of identity, persecution, change, and responsibility fit in so well with a trans story that they would work really well if Peter Parker realized at some point that she was Spider-Woman after all. In fact, all those stories that have already been would be able to remain pretty relevant. It would add extra details on top. It would work. It would add drama. The bullying angle feeds into this, and Parker is certainly, until Zdarsky's run on Spectacular Spider-Man, hounded by traditional media who made him out to be a menace to society, and what's more transgender than that? Hell, editorial clearly doesn't want Peter and MJ's marriage to ever return, so why not transition? It'd be better than the limbo he's in now. Speaking of Ultimate Spider-Man, two things. One, the original Ultimate Spider-Man run, the Bendis and Bagley one, that one had a transgender Peter Parker in the form of Ultimate Jessica Drew. A female clone of Peter Parker with all of his memories, who has to deal with being someone entirely different and coming into her own, her identity, transitioning from a teenage boy to an adult woman, and the struggles of adjusting to that change, especially as a clone. Someone who doesn't even, as she says, feel like a real person. Also a real feeling. I've been there. I'm the broken thing they made out of Peter Parker. And that's what we have in common. Men of science who don't give a damn about anyone but themselves, mess with the natural order of all things. I'm not Peter Parker, I'm this thing. It's hard to process myself, let alone get you to. I have years of Peter Parker's childhood memories rolling around in my head, and time has gone by, and those memories have faded, and my feelings about my connection to him have faded, and I've become this other thing. I'm not Peter Parker, I'm not even a boy. I'm Jessica Drew. Real, very transgender, and there's more. I've been coming to grips with who I am for a while. I mean, I've got somebody else's memories and feelings to work through. Am I that person? Are these thoughts my own? I can't complain. I've got these awesome powers, this physical ability. I get to be here, be alive. So yeah, I get into weird territories of what defines the self. What is the self even, you know? I know that sounds all new age and dumb. I have a girl's body, but the brain patterns of a guy. But I can't help but feel like I'm developing my own feelings, my own ideas. They may have come from another source, but if these thoughts are unique to me, aren't they mine, then? Secondly, and to bring this video to a close, I want to show you one of the most beautiful examples of Spider-Man as a transgender story ever told in comics. One that I can't say with certainty was deliberate, but my god, never has the thematic resonance of Spider-Man as a trans story, or a queer story more broadly, been more poignant than it is in Jonathan Hickman and Marco Chichetto's Ultimate Spider-Man. This run tells the story of an adult Peter Parker, without his powers, married to Mary Jane and with 2 kids. It's a world where evil Reed Richards from the original Ultimate Universe has made a new universe to rule and completely fucked with it in numerous ways, but you'll have to ignore that part for now because if we start to explain the maker, it'll drive you insane. The first issue of Hickman and Chichetto's Ultimate Spider-Man is such a powerful transgender story, it might as well have been called I Saw the TV Glow. It's just, for the longest time, I thought something was wrong with my life, Ben. That something was wrong with me. I can't really explain it, but now I just know that I've been right all along, and I don't know what to do. I know you, Peter Parker. You're an amazing husband and just lights out as a father, but you've been walking around for years with this cloud hanging over you. You put a good face on it, but you're not satisfied with who you are. Do you know what you have to do? I think so. Yes. I want it. This story, this panel, this whole thing, this is what being transgender feels like. That description, that's gender dysphoria, that cloud hanging over you, that crushing feeling, the existential curtain laid over the world, almost draining it of its color. In this version of Ultimate Spider-Man, Hickman and Chichetto tell the story of a transgender Peter Parker. He knows that he should be happy. He is everything he thinks he wanted, and yet he isn't who he is. It isn't right. He's not who he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to be here. I'm dying right now! Everything feels wrong. And with a little help from not estrogen, but a radioactive spider, and with the encouragement of the love of his life, he transitions not from male to female, but from man to Spider-Man. It's a really beautiful issue, and I'm not just saying that because of the gorgeous art, but the way Hickman writes Peter too is just heartbreaking. I know that feeling, and it got me. This story got me, this art got me, Spider-Man got me. For those of you that have made Petra Parker art over the last couple of weeks, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. As a trans woman who's been obsessed with Spider-Man since, well, almost 30 years now? As someone who never could identify with any male character until I read Spider-Man, as just a woman, as a trans woman, as a fan, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Seriously. You've made the internet, however briefly, such a beautiful place. And you've really warmed my heart. Thank you. Hey, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe, give it a hype it, smash the hype button, tell your friends, member gift stub. I don't know, can you do gift subs or not on a stream? I have no idea. Oh, if you're here, please pay attention. I'm funding my way out of my hole that I got into by breaking up with someone from 6 years, moving countries all the way from Eastern Europe to Western Europe, back where I started, in my parents' house, and I would like to get out eventually because I am turning 35 this year and I would like to have my own life in space. That would be nice. I think that would be cool. So please contribute to my getting out of there fund, which is this drive I'm doing right now, the Patreon drive. Please give me, you can give me donations on Coffee or PayPal. That's really helps as well. Please do that if you're gonna give one time. But I would love it. I would owe you so much if as many of you join my Patreon or YouTube memberships as possible, even if it's just for a little bit. It's coming up to, it's gonna be 9 months now, I think, that I've been back in the UK. Help me get out of my overdraft. Help me start being able to get out of my parents' house. Help me have a normal, independent life again. And if you want to help out with that, Coffee, PayPal, Patreon, YouTube memberships, all of that would go so far towards being able to get my life back on track and get me back on my feet before my 35th birthday. Oh, that feels weird to say. So you have until October, and then I'll probably will still not be out because money costs things, and times are hard for people right now. So I understand. But if you could, I really like it. And if you sign up to my Patreon, my YouTube memberships, you can get early videos, uncensored videos, access to the members only Discord, my Nintendo Switch friend code, my Steam friend code now I put on the Discord, so you can find that, exclusive interviews such as long form interviews of previous guests of the show, and in addition to all that good stuff, you'll get your name read out at the end, just like these lovely people. Montana Schmidt-Bauer, Zach Beevan, Meow Meowski, Eva Kebab, Marty Hunt, Jane Lisa Ferrian, Melissa Allen, Sarah Francesca Smith, Candice Murray, Mason Pugh, Lineker Moon, 90s Doofus, Nathaniel C, Cassandra Thompson, Chloe, Meat Moop, Juice Man, Lawrence M, Mongolian Shaman, Spurious Machinery, Tor Nielsen, Scuzzbopper, T. Rook, Serena D, Karina Kiriakow, David Cropper, Harlow, Dini Weta, ADHD, Dan Shape Blob, Achu, Graffitier _ Heather Nelson, Uncast Shadow of a Southern Myth, Rain Stuff, Will, Alexander Barnes, Reese Snet, Ken Sorden, hello Kirsty, yes you, Kirsty, I'm talking to you, Kirsty, Georgie, Carlita Del Mazzotte, Anna Nicholson, Dungeon Slime, Naomi Gorman, Melody, Heidi Law, Transform and Function, Cara Patching, Mattia 98, Lilith Dawn, Spin Noir, Victor Lufgren, Gilda the Gilded Dragon, A Slice of Cake, Rue, Maltiam, Gina Service, You Are Made of Stupid. Gina, I'm sorry, I know you drew attention to this. It's still very funny to me. You are made of stupid, you make my life, don't change your name. I think it's very funny, sorry. I want it known that your readout has been noticed. Tomo, Melissa Jackson, Ren of Who's Your Stuff, Minstrel of Course, Jeffrey on, Tom the Not Quite So Brave of Sir Lancelot, LFR, Tricoi, Ariella, Proquire, Robin Rocks, Emily Eisenberg, Galaxgate, Kirby, No Sparkling Heart, Corey, Gianna J, Imogen Q, Luciana Frias Andrade, Adam Harry, Quesadilla de Tortilla Azul, Leron, Adam Lees, Daniel Nevels, No Not That Paul, MB, Wandering Wonder, Ashton Murphy, Lex Phoenix, Enter Kuzitz, Mira D, J Senior, Boa Ear, James W, Deborah Laboon, Silas Athenium, Vince Whitaker, Emilio Lissette, Jay, Frank McManus, Susan Foster, Helena Rial, Sierra Whiskey, Ali Catgill, Sarah, Lloyd Luciente, Jason Cribbett, Raven of the Tempest, Shield Daden, Robin Podolsky, Nightlight Plushy Jesus, Manta Ray, Courtney Burmack, Sleepy Slug, Soma Piglet, Brain Douche, Artie Wolf, Deanna McMillan, Carolyn Regalado, Alexandra Lilly, and Howard Lott. Thank you all so much. You make my day, my life, my year. And I almost went into the Friends song, but seriously, thank you all so much. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for everything. I hope you keep watching. Even if I do rebrand at the end of this year, which I might. Keep watching, please. I mean, I'll telegraph that before in advance. I won't just disappear, and I won't disappear at all. It'll just be me still, but maybe have a different name and icon. We'll see. We'll see. In the works. Don't expect anything yet. Probably weird time to bring that up. Forget that until I make it more clear and solid. I see you soon. I love you. Please help if you can. Keep drawing, Petra Parker. Keep on wizarding. Thank you. Little baby goblin. Gonna cry? Pizza time.